Welcome back to Coast Files, your podcast for ocean mysteries and true crime. I'm Chantel.
I'm Lindsay.
I'm Megan.
Okay, we got through it.
Barely. I was holding on for dear
I feel like my
life.
voice was about to crack. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not ready. I thought I was ready. And you guys said I was the most ready, and then I got in my head a little bit.
And then we jinxed you.
I would love it if you go to say your name and it cracks like you're a teenager.
Lindsay.
Yeah.
Lindsay hits puberty
Okay.
mid
Saying my
podcast.
name is hard.
Finally happened.
You don't say your own name all the time, okay?
It's
hard.
fair. It's fair. Yeah. Well, actually, I do a lot. I have to introduce myself a lot during the day.
Yeah, I used to when I had a job.
This is your job. So now you do have to introduce yourself.
Oh my God, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't feel like
We're
work.
here.
And we've officially made like $60 so far in donations.
See,
I know we just got one like 12 hours ago.
that one actually came through
$65,
ages ago,
I
but
think.
It was held because it's
Oh.
from the U.S. That's my friend Stu. Shout out Stu.
Thanks,
He's,
Stu.
He's
Thanks,
an actor in
Stu.
L.A. Like actually.
Oh, I
Trying
do
to
see
get
that
to the
he
scene.
frequently messages, but like I don't check it. I just see because I am also signed
It's
into our
me.
Instagram,
Yeah.
and sometimes every once in a while I sign in by accident. So if something weird happens and someone sends you a message that doesn't sound like Megan, it's probably me.
So it's either
It's never me.
but no, he's great, and he's so he's been in a couple things so far. Some things are like filmed in Toronto, but he's like really trying to do that whole actor thing. And I mean, not surprisingly, it's incredibly hard. So I told him the
Yeah.
story about John Krasinski, that he was, I think, like, trying out acting for about a year, and he was just really feeling defeated. He was like a server and doing a bunch of other part-time jobs. And I guess his mom could just tell he was like just burning out, and he was gonna, just like, so I'm just gonna come home, regroup, whatever. And she goes, just, give it at least like another 6 months, like just really push it. And then you can say I did it, and then you can close that chapter. And I think within like a month, he got like the office job, and now his life is changed.
Oh my
So,
God.
Yeah.
like,
Wow.
Stu,
That was life-changing.
and obviously it's not going to be, that's going to be not 1 in a million, but that's not everyone's story. But like, you don't know. So really just dig in. And then when you're done, you're done. But just fucking
Right.
go get him, Tiger.
And Stu, when you're famous, you can shout out our podcast.
Yes. Or
On your
even right now. Even now, shout it out. You don't have to be famous.
Yeah.
Everyone, tell
That's
all your
true.
friends.
We tell all your friends.
Please.
We believe in you, Stu. I think your big break is going to come.
I
What
think so too.
I think one of you guys should explain, because I always feel like I'm on the back end of all of this stuff. They're just like, hey, we set this stuff up, and I'm like, okay, great. So what are you talking about? How do we get $60?
Oh, yeah,
ladies?
that's right.
Well, yes.
Lindsay is going to help us by adding it into our kind of like wrap up at the end of the show. But essentially, most folks are familiar with Patreon. And if you don't know, it's the kind of website where you can go and kind of support a local creator. And sometimes it's, actual artists or craftsmen or whatever it is. But for this case, it's podcast. Hi, it's us.
Hi.
So like Patreon, Coffee is a website you go to. You can follow our page. You can donate one time. You can donate monthly. And we're still a little baby podcast, as you guys know. So we have very, very few tiers. And ideally, one day, we have a lot more content. So if you're subscribing, we'll give you some really good stuff. For now, it's mostly support us because you love us.
Help
and
us.
you want to say, I was there at the beginning. Because that's why I would do it. Also, we're going to do social media shout outs and episode shout outs. And then also, depending on the tier, you can choose a topic, either a generic topic, or if you have a case that you think is interesting, we can cover that. Obviously, as long as it kind of fits in the ocean-y spooky umbrella. Other than that, it's free for all. Even if you want to just go and
even if it's
follow
a
the
very
page.
fine line to the ocean, please.
Listen, we will run that fine line. As we said before, one drop of rain happened.
If someone drinks a glass of water, it counts. So
yeah, you find the connection, we'll make it work.
Yeah.
And the website you can go visit is coffee.com/coastfiles. So that is ko-fi.com. Get it, like coffee, but it's like Ko-fi, but it's
Ko-fi.
I said it differently in my head, to be honest. But
I was saying a Ko-fi.
There's a coffee. I know. I was
Yeah.
I was saying Ko-fi.
So it's ko-fi.com/Coastfiles. I also have it linked on our Instagram. I think Lindsay's going to be adding that to the website in the next, couple of days or so. So, $1 is awesome. $5 is awesome. Even just following is awesome. And also just tell everyone that you know and care about. Even your enemies, tell them about this podcast because, a like is a like and a comment's a comment. So
We don't care if they're your enemies. I won't lie.
no, but know that we're on your side. So if you need backup, we're on your side. But
I'll always be with the OGs, but like
obviously.
Yeah, maybe we should have a special tier. If you have enemies, we need to like bash on our podcast. No,
Wait, did you hear? I'm gonna butcher this, but there was like a zoo, and it was for it was for Valentine's Day, and they said, donate $5 and we will name a cockroach of whatever person you want. It was like meant to be for like an ex or something, or like a bad situation. We'll name a cockroach after whoever you want, and we'll feed it to one of many animals.
So it was different tiers. It was like either we'll just name it, or like a different tier is like, and we'll feed it to like the meerkats, and like there's different tiers of them.
So I don't have any exes that I would even close to feeling that way about, but I'd want to name a cockroach after myself and be like, Megan was fed to a meerkat. Like, that's so cute.
Yeah, like I helped.
So listen, if you guys want us to get cockroaches, we can figure something out. That could be the next tier that we have. We'll be at
Megan will
Chantel's
keep them
place.
at her house.
No. Chantel's house. Not here.
hopefully none of us just have them anyways. That would.
I mean, we
be
used to.
My old place had a couple. They were big boys
scenario.
too. Oh.
We were pretty good for the building that we had it in, but we had.
Chantel, do you want to talk about what National Day is today, or do you want me to?
I want you to because I already forgot. So
That's why I'm here. So the day this episode comes out, which should be October 1st, or October 2nd. So I already fucked it up. October 2nd.
I at least knew that.
is going to be National Coffee Day. So if not coffee, tea, hot chocolate, whatever, but we're all coffee drinkers here. The reason why I had the slip of October 1st is because that is National Pumpkin Spice Day. So all you basic bitches come together. I mean, I freaking love pumpkin spice. There's no shame.
It's not my favorite flavor, but I got a sleeve for my Nespresso machine. They just had a new flavor, pumpkin spice cake.
I saw that.
I'm like, that sounds good. So I bought a sleeve of it to try it. Yeah, I think like the cake part too. I'm like, oh, it's probably gonna be extra special and decadent.
Yeah, typically as soon as something says cake, it's like that vanilla that they're adding in.
I love vanilla.
Like birthday cake
Obsessed.
flavored, whatever.
Yeah.
And also too, I mean, there are so many items out there that are pumpkin based that have all that yummy fall like nutmeg and cardamom and all those delicious flavors. But the actual pumpkin spice is just the spices that go into a pumpkin dessert. So normally that has no pumpkin flavor at all, which is
no, it doesn't because
they just go hand in hand.
I know, but you can call it like apple pie spice. It's the same thing. I actually have that. I have a little pack of it.
Yeah, because it's just the cinnamon, the nutmeg, and something else. It's actually you can go to some fancy artisan coffee places. Cardamom, yeah. You can go to some fancy coffee places and they'll put in actual pumpkin puree into a lot of the drinks, and like it honestly tastes a lot better with the spices.
You sent me a video that I'm like, I am gonna make one year, and it's like, you take pumpkin puree and you kind of like cook it down and.
So, I love like pumpkin baked goods. So
100%.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, there's not many baked goods I'll say no to, but especially when it's pumpkin.
Speaking of,
speaking of pumpkin, I'm taking my pumpkin sweater off right now because it is 35 degrees in this apartment.
Yeah, it's still August here, but we're
you wore it long enough. We're starting off October with spooky things.
Okay, it's coming up.
Megan is, of course, she is our most well dressed with all the spooky attire. Chantel and I are just going to go colors. I'm wearing dark purple, which is kind of Halloween.
Still
Chantel's obviously got orange, and I have my brand new thermos. It's for coffee, but I put a margarita in it.
So for those that can't
midnight
see,
margarita.
Describe how cute.
Oh yes, sorry. It is has little skeletons dancing all over it, and I do like this brand a lot. So maybe there'll be a sponsor eventually.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very cute.
We're just gonna dream big, and even if we miss, we land among the stars. Oh, I forgot the moon part.
Chantel said I could drink for this
the moon.
episode.
Shoot for the
Yes.
moon.
I did give everybody that permission. You know, everybody waits for my permission to drink. So, well,
She's our nurse. She's our health guru.
When I was first like writing this episode, I was like, oh no, I don't feel like I have a lot of information. It's very interesting. Do not get me wrong. But I was like worried that I didn't have enough. And then I did find a couple of other things that I actually added like last minute today. So I think we're pretty
Can't
good.
wait.
But let's still drink to it.
Okay. Cheers to when this comes out, like October, which is our Christmas.
Yes, cheers to our Christmas.
Oh, god damn.
Okay. So
Like,
you ready?
Oh, I'm so ready.
yes.
Okay.
I just got dark again in here.
I noticed that, yeah.
It's so I'm like, I better
Good
turn my
lighting.
light on a little there. But now I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I know. Just don't look directly into it.
Okay. And to be fair, I don't even know what we're talking about today. I'm just happy to be
Okay.
I don't know either. I know it's something oceany.
Yes.
What?
So, surprise, surprise. If you've noticed by the title, we are talking about the Jacuzzi of Death. And
That didn't answer any questions
it has
for me.
many. I will answer so many questions. It has.
Is
many
this
names.
based off Hot Tub Time Machine?
No, but there is actually a nickname for this called Hot Tub Brine Machine. So we'll get into it.
I love when scientists make jokes. That is good.
So other things that this goes by for nicknames is Pits of Despair, Hot Tub of Despair, Jacuzzi of Death, but ultimately they are brine pools. Or, if you want to go scientific, deep hypersaline anoxic basins. DHABs.
Rolls off the tongue.
Yes, it does. But we will definitely get into the ominous nickname and why it has that. So
One of the names you said honestly sounds like it'd be like a death metal band.
Pits of Despair, probably.
Like,
yeah.
I would rock on to that big time.
Yeah, we'd be in the mosh pit for sure.
Oh, I'd be outside the mosh pit, but I'd be looking at you in the mosh pit.
So they look like deep underwater lakes or pools on the ocean floor. So you guys are on the first photo there, and it just kind of shows, you know, a bunch of them kind of clustered together, and then there's some crabs chilling on the other side there. They are found 1,000 to 2,000 meters, so 3,300 to 7,200 feet deep. This means that they're in the bathypelagic zone, so the midnight zone.
Obviously.
Obviously.
You remember this.
I
You remember
remember
everything from
everything.
Mariana's Trench episode.
Yes.
So this is like the third zone of the ocean. This is the one where most of the ocean falls into. So just off of the coast of New Orleans in the Gulf of Mexico, there are dozens of these brine pools at the bottom there. It is not the only area, however, that has them, but it is the place that I will talk about the most because I could find the most information about it. Some other places that have them, though, they're found under polar ice. They are in the Mediterranean Sea. They're in the Red Sea, and it was newly discovered that they're also in the Gulf of Aqaba.
The Gulf of Aqaba.
AQABA. This was just discovered in 2020. So there are four pools that are greatly studied in the Mediterranean Sea, and they are named Urania, Bannock, La Alante, and the Discovery. So even
really
though
cool restaurants that I'd want to go to.
Yeah, they're very fancy.
Yeah, I know.
even though they're all located in the same sea, they're actually chemically very different. So Urania contains the highest level of sulfuric acid. Discovery is actually extremely low in sodium, even though mainly these have a lot of salts in them compared to the other ones. And La Atlante has high levels of sulfate. So even though they're all in the same area, and we'll go into how these are all created, it's kind of weird that they're so chemically different. They come in various sizes from 1 kilometer squared to 120 kilometers squared.
Still, like, I mean, I thought even like the 1 kilometer squared was still really fucking big.
Yeah.
Yeah. So up to 120. The small ones tend to be more isolated and kind of lackluster, while the larger ones will support very vast and stable ecosystems.
They have like a ballet and like a resort. Kind of
Exactly. Yeah. They were initially discovered in the 1980s by geological surveys, but they were first observed in 1983 by the manned submersible Alvin.
Oh,
so that's the next photo. I got a little, you got a little artist rendition
this little
of him
drawing one. Yeah, very
He's
cute.
wearing a little hat.
So I don't know how much you went into, I can't remember in the Titanic episode, how much you went into
Right.
like Alvin's history.
I didn't really.
he's
I just gave
amazing.
him the, yeah.
He's done 4,700 dives. He has been going since the 60s. There's this whole website on National Geographic that actually shows you how he's evolved over the years with certain upkeep. One of his missions was in 1966 to search for a missing hydrogen bomb in the Mediterranean Sea. And he
Alvin's
also was
seen things.
He has.
He's like a
and he was
secret
also
agent.
missing for an entire year in 1968. Just missing. They couldn't find him. They were trying to put him into this one place. He accidentally got let go of, and he just like slowly fell into this like slope. Luckily, the people that were in it were able to get out in time and get to
were in
safety.
it?
Yes.
Unmanned.
Oh my gosh.
No, this is a manned
No.
submarine.
Yeah. So originally, when they found the Titanic, another little sub, Argo, I think, went down and saw it. But then they sent down people in Alvin.
Okay.
So that was like Robert
Yeah.
Ballard and the other, I think I think 3 people.
Yes,
right?
yeah, I think that's
Holy.
what it said.
Okay, so I think
Yeah.
I was thinking that Alvin was like the small little guy.
No, so that's how come it was the first scene that like the brine pools were first seen actually by people in Alvin because people were inside of it. Yeah.
Wow.
Anyways, Alvin could be an episode all on his own. He's pretty fucking cool what he's done since the
Note
60s.
to self.
Yes, yes, I figured that would be a Lindsay one. I'll send you the websites that I found that break down like all of his stuff.
Please do.
Back to the brine pools of death. They are about 5 to 10 times saltier than the surrounding waters, and some are so dense that Alvin was actually able to sit on top of them.
Okay, I have
So-
a hard time. Like, I understand, like, density of different liquids, and we've all seen that, olive oil and water trick. But I still have a hard time because the ocean is so vast. I feel like there's a lot more things you can't control. So how does that happen? Like, I have
Yeah, like the liquid
brain-
is like so dense that I
Yes,
don't know how
because
heavy
it is-
Alvin is, but I assume he's pretty heavy.
He's
I know underwater
it's
it's
too, but underwater you're not as heavy,
Yeah,
and
right.
also
Made of
salinity
metal.
levels makes
yes,
you floaty.
yes, but
and,
also the pressure. So he would be heavy still. He's not. You know what I mean?
and we're gonna get into pressure. One very distinct pool in the Gulf, which is the next photo, is 30 meters, 100 feet in circumference, and has 3.6 meters, so 12 feet high walls. And I'll
it looks
explain
like
in a little bit how these walls were formed.
Yeah,
It looks like a volcano.
Yeah, or it looks like a giant asteroid from millions of
or a
years ago. hit it.
zit really close up.
Like right after you get it. And what's left over after you get rid of all the
Exactly.
stuff.
It looks like
It's just
eerily
crazy.
flat and calm. It's
Yeah.
it's weird.
It blows my
makes
mind
me
that there's like a
uncomfortable.
pool in the water.
Yeah, there's definitely a video I'm going to show you guys later. Maybe we'll put it like in the links if we can somewhere. I'll talk
I
about it
can
soon.
I can definitely link it with all the instruments.
Yeah.
How does
If you just send me
how
the
does
link.
it separate? But like, how do things
Oh, we're going to get into
stay
all of
put?
it.
Okay. Okay.
So the shape alone isn't the only reason why it has the moniker of hot tub or jacuzzi. It is actually warmer than the surrounding waters. So typically water down that deep is about 4 degrees, so 39 Fahrenheit. But these pools have been recorded from anywhere from 7.8 degrees Celsius, so 46 Fahrenheit, all the way up to 19 degrees Celsius, 66 Fahrenheit. And I think that this is just talking about the ones in the Gulf of Mexico. I think I read that the ones in the Mediterranean Sea can get even hotter. So
Like
And just,
actual
like-
jacuzzi temperature.
it was pretty high.
I know
think-
19 is not that, but like
No. But yeah, one of them I think it got up to like 28 Celsius or something like that in the Mediterranean.
Damn.
pretty warm. Like that would be like
Yeah.
a very warm pool.
Exactly.
Too warm to swim in comfortably, probably.
Yeah, I don't like the bathtub.
You're definitely sweating while you're in it.
Oh,
thing.
the worst.
Yeah. So we're going to get into now how these brine pools were created.
Was it God?
Yes. End of podcast.
I'm so sorry if that was.
And it was only
offensive to anyone.
2,000 years ago.
The dinosaurs and the first man held hands, and God blessed them with pits of despair at the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah, we do not judge anyone's religious beliefs.
But we also believe science.
Are
I'm just gonna
The
say
two
nothing.
can coincide.
And
yeah,
I
think God would understand that things happen on Earth anyway. So we're good.
I feel like if someone is like a truly God-fearing person, they're likely not listening to this.
Yeah,
After
that's very
episode
fair.
1, they're like, this is not for me. And that's fine.
Yeah. Okay, so the 3 ways that it can happen. The first one is brine rejection. So this is when the seawater freezes, salt does not freeze. So it will actually be expelled from the crystal structures that are created when water is freezing. And since they are heavier, they'll sink to the bottom. And on a large scale, this actually plays a pivotal role in global thermohaline circulation, which is essentially about the ocean currents and how they move based on temperature and salinity. So this involves 2 areas, the North Atlantic deep water mass system and the Antarctic bottom water mass system. So it's just how like at different times, how water is circulating, because, you know, we've seen and we've talked about how far things can actually go. You know, when we were talking about Mariana's Trench and how far some of these creatures actually came from. So this all has to do with this, how they'll move, how the water will move and kind of, you know, go through and get its oxygen and just kind of move animals and things around. So, but on a smaller scale, this brine can actually collect in depressions on the seafloor and it creates brine pools. A second way is through geothermal heating. So geothermic heating, so as tectonic plates move apart, magma will seep out and it'll cool. And if you remember, we talked about in another episode about the mid-ocean ridges, the things that like connect all over the world.
Are those like the edges of the plates? No?
Yeah, so it has a lot of the edges of the plates. There's a lot of hydrothermal vents and things like that there.
Yes.
And so seawater will seep down into these fractures and then they meet with other minerals and they start to dissolve and they create the brine. The brine is then heated up by the magma because it's in between the plates and it starts to rise to the seafloor. It then cools and it settles into depressions on the seafloor. This is likely how the Red Sea pools were created. The last one.
How cool are volcanoes in general, and like the crust and magma and stuff?
How cool is like all of this? Like it doesn't.
I am gonna cover volcanoes in a section called the Ring of Fire because it's ocean related.
Yes,
and it's just fascinating. So I'm like loving all of this stuff. This is just so interesting to me.
Yeah, I had no idea this was even a thing. So
things that don't come up in your day-to-day life, right?
Yeah.
Okay, add that in. Okay, right here.
Oh, I do. So, and the third way is salt tectonics. And this is how brine pools in the Gulf were created. During the mid-Jurassic period, the Gulf was a shallow sea that eventually dried out. And this left a thick 8-kilometer deep layer of salt and other minerals.
My God.
And these minerals then began to be covered in sediment. And as the world shifted and changed, and, you know, Pangea was like no longer a thing anymore, eventually water came back to this area and created the oceans. So as it filled more and more, the pressure of the water above on the sediment layers actually caused it to become weak and crack. And it made the salt layer a little bit more mobile. And so then eventually water leaked into these cracks and began to dissolve the salts, creating a brine. So gases like methane were also
similar
released.
to like, is this a dumb question? Like how you would brine
Pickles.
Well, brine is just like salt.
Meat. Yeah.
Yeah, brine is just all about like salting, right? So yeah, it's just about thick salt.
So it's like,
basically.
yeah, a little bit different, but like similar concept.
Yes,
salt and water.
Okay.
Very, great.
Lots.
Important in cooking, and also clearly are the crust of our earth, which I didn't know.
And
Yeah.
yes,
Ocean's got a brine too.
You'll see. So gases like methane were also released from this Jurassic concoction, giving them their chemical makeup, which we will get into. And eventually the brine seeped out of the layers on the seafloor and the highly dense water flowed across until it pooled into depressions and basins, forming these lakes and pools.
So it couldn't even mix in with the other water. It was
can't.
so different.
Wow. They're so chemically different, they cannot mix in. So this also means that the salts that are found in these pools are anywhere
Ancient.
between 6.5 to 25 million years old.
Whoa.
But that doesn't make any sense. But
it does.
Oh, science.
Because it's all just minerals and rocks. They're all old as fuck.
I mean, in some ways, though, like how you just explained it makes total sense, though. Like, of course, it can't mix. Like, where else is it gonna
it's just like Megan said. It's like mixing water and oil. And if you remember in science classes, there is only so much that water can take. Whether it's especially when it comes to salt, I believe. I think sugar, it can take a little bit more. But I don't know. Do you guys ever do that and keep mixing in like salt or sugar into water to see until it got to a point where it just wasn't going to dissolve it anymore?
I don't think so. I just make simple syrup at home. That's about as far as I get.
Well, if you put too much sugar, eventually it won't mix anymore, because there's the different type of mixtures and like how they will go anyways. But yeah, so this basically what happens is that once you have too much, it's not going to be able to pick apart the hydrogen and the oxygen to then become a sodium mixture as well, and it won't go in anymore. So that's essentially what this brine is doing, right? It won't mix with the outside water because it's just too salty. So ridges and slopes and valleys can be seen in these areas as well. So if you go to the next photo there, you can kind of see how there's like a lot of, it's almost like the first one, just kind of a different view, but there's a lot of ridges there, and those are all mineral deposits that are around the sides there. So these deposits and more salt tectonics are actually what create these rims of the brine pools themselves, and essentially encase them in a mineral dam. So that's how that other one was able to have a 12-foot high walls, is because they're creating their own walls at the same time. So they start in a depression and they started creating their own walls.
This is so freaking cool. It looks like a very mossy underground volcano.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and almost looks up close, almost like a barnacle, like really up close.
Oh, so that moss that you're talking. Yes, it does, right? It looks just like a barnacle.
But if you're like really, really zoomed in.
Yeah. So that like kind of mossy stuff that's in there, we'll get into what that is specifically as well. But these rims actually are what help to create this kind of like beautiful dichotomy that you see between the brine pool and the rest of the ocean. So you can go into that next photo there, and you can see there is literally one side flourishing, beautiful life on these brine pools that these brine pools help to nourish and create through chemosynthesis and mineral deposits are, and right over the other side is just barren and death. So yeah,
this picture is creepy.
These two.
So this stuff is in the brine pool or just on the
No, it's on the edge. Because
so that's the brine pool.
We're gonna get into the two environments right now.
So it's just so mineral heavy that they just get so many nutrients and they flourish around.
So because if you actually, we're going to talk about this very soon. So the brine is toxic to most organisms due to its lack of oxygen. It's an anoxic environment and the high salinity levels. So it also contains highly toxic chemicals like hydrogen sulfide and methane. So things actually cannot live in there. It's also considered to be a cold seep, which is a whole other thing that we can kind of get into. It's because it has hydrogen carbon gas leakage that occurs there. These are typically near hydrothermal vents, and they're called cold because the temperature disparity between these leaks and the hydrothermal vents. But there are no hydrothermal vents around here, but they're just considered cold seeps because it's the same thing that's happening. The hydrocarbon gas is leaking through. So many animals that attempt to enter the brine pools end up in toxic shock when they try to breathe in or filter this water because they can't handle these salinity levels and the lack of oxygen.
I think I've seen a video of...
There was a video on Blue Planet 2 with our episode 2.
That could be where I saw it. And then
that's the video that I want you guys to look at later. Yeah, so there's actually what's called a cutthroat eel, and he's going in and out of the pool trying to get food because there's lots of things that go in there and die. So they're trying to go in there and just feed on
quickly gab something.
Exactly. So they're trying to quickly go in, but he went in one too many times and he starts basically having a seizure and going into toxic shock, and you can see him just like tying himself into a knot. He does eventually make it out though. Not a lot do. He is able to eventually kind of kick himself out of it and he swims away. But most animals do not have that same fate.
I think I saw one where crab is like, let me just dip my toe, and then
Oh yeah, we're getting into that. So in the same clip, you see dead fish, crabs, squid, all of that we're not able to get out. So you can actually go to the next photo there. Most animals, when they start to go back, they go into a shock.
This is
they
the
can't
one
get out.
I was talking about.
So they essentially become pickled because it's a brine. So they can consider it pickling.
Wow. Do we like pickled crab?
I was about to say pickled crab sounds real nice.
I could try that.
You
Maybe
often
like
see
pickled crab sandwich. Sorry, I'll talk my
pickled crab legs. So it's their bodies basically become forever entombed in this brine, perfectly preserved for a very long time because the salt and the lack of oxygen actually slows the decay. Which I think, didn't we talk about that? They used to do that for mummification. They used to salt the bodies.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yes,
or even more modern times, people coming from Europe to the New World would salt all the meat, and that's why everyone was like, "Oh, I don't like seafood; it's so salty." It's like, girl, you're having one that's like 4 months old. Have a fresh one.
Try a fresh one. There's also a theory, it hasn't been proven, but that they think that these crabs might go there to die when they're ready to die as well. They think they might be more likely to kind of go over there. Yeah. But most of them are just like, we just walked too far and didn't realize we fell in and we couldn't get back out.
But they would have kind of walked up this ledge.
Yeah, so they walk. Well, plus you can remember the mussels, right? So a lot of them will walk over the mussels and stuff like that, and then they just get too close to the edge and fall in.
Maybe we're giving crabs too much credit, and it's just an accident, and they're not going there on purpose.
Yeah. We're just trying to make it seem better.
Like, no, I meant to do this.
Yeah, I meant to die.
I like
was
salt.
Ready. Yeah.
Because I know that they were talking about how even now in this day and age, they're learning more about, I think it's African elephants and how they'll have like funerals, like elephants will have funerals for each other. And like, that's like not, I mean, at least to the modern world, that's like new. Like we had never heard that until recently. So maybe they're just trying to see like maybe if there's enough crabs, it's like maybe they do go here because they know it's a place where you die. And I don't know. But does a crab have that kind of level of conscious thought? I'd say probably no.
It's kind of like the whales that you see when they talk about them carrying around their babies for a while.
But whales
died.
are smarter than us. So I
There's
don't believe anything.
a new, like, I think whale doc we were watching the other day, and it had like a humpback whales and the mother, how they try to get their child up to like migrate so they can feed again. And this like mother humpback whale had her baby on her like kind of her back, and killer whales were trying to like attack to get the baby, and they were just trying to wear her out and knock the baby off. They had like a plan and stuff, and the mother kept coming back, and eventually they did get the baby whale, and it was so sad. And I hated it. Like, I know.
Remember when I was texting you guys, I was watching the one by James Cameron. I think it's called Whales. And
That's probably the one I was watching.
I was bawling
thought
my
it was
eyes
maybe
out, and I can't. No, well, it is fairly new, but there's a couple episodes, and I think I got through one, and I was like, I can't do this.
We just watched the humpback whale one. I'm like, I know. I know killer whales have to eat too, but you don't have to eat the baby humpback.
And
eat something else.
I know.
It's always from someone else's perspective. Like if you're from the the baby whale's perspective and the mom, it's terrible. But like
when you're in the killer whale perspective,
yeah, the orcas, they're trying to feed their family too. You're like,
I know.
Circle of life, baby.
I know.
I hate it.
It's
just
it's the lion and the
it's
gazelle,
just
right?
hard seeing, like I think
baby.
as a mom too, I'm like, it's a mom trying to protect her baby, and it was just sad to watch.
Yeah, I like better when they show me the ones that get away.
Yeah, no, me too. I'm like, sorry, killer whales.
Like, and I know seals are also cute, but like, you can eat a seal. Go get a seal.
Yeah,
Little baby humpback.
But not a baby seal.
They wouldn't want one. No. They don't have enough meat on them.
I mean, they're probably a nice little appetizer, though.
Yeah, why don't you just eat a grandpa seal that just passed? It's like done. Everyone's happy.
Hardly even dead. He just died.
Just died. Like they could do an offering.
It's still fresh.
Like, hey,
he had
our elders, as soon as they're gone, naturally, like just
he was on his
toss them over
deathbed,
to the
and
whale.
he confessed to a hit and run he did in 1971 when he was drunk driving, and then he breathed his last breath and then eat that seal.
eat it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it. That's better.
Okay, anyway,
We gotta
Solving all the
bad
problems for
stories.
the killer whales. You're welcome, killer whales.
Yeah.
Okay, where were we?
I don't even know where we were.
So, pickled crab. Okay, actually,
right.
Oh God, that sounds
right.
good.
You can go to the next photo now. So these are crystal-like formations that happen in these brine pools as well because of the amount of barium sulfate that they have. They make these like crystal formations. So
Are they worth money?
Cool.
Yeah, I was going to ask about the barium sulfate, so I'm glad you brought it up.
I thought you would. So,
Fuck up.
but
back to the barium sulfate. Can you tell me more about crystals?
no, that's all I got.
This is really
so-
cool. I actually think it's so fascinating how crystals form in general. So
Yes,
crystals
yeah.
and geodes and all those.
yeah, it's
Right?
so
And
beautiful.
what are the things in caves called, like stalagmites and
Yeah, and stalactites.
You're so close to it.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. God, that's just neat.
Yeah, but these are the things that like Megan said in the other photo that kind of look like some moss hanging out in the middle. These are all just little
this
crystals.
is us. Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
But even
I would just buff that up, turn that into a nice jewelry set.
honestly, it might look beautiful. You don't know.
Yeah. See,
Have a nice little
be a
pickled crab
thing.
on the side. Make a whole
Or
thing
maybe
out
it's
of it.
nice and creepy and dark looking, and it can just be like a nice Halloween. You know.
I wonder if
But
I
I
have
would-
some
dark
like
crystal.
extra benefits. You know, like salt lamps. I don't have one, but I've kind of always been curious. Apparently,
Yeah,
they help the air.
So we're gonna. I don't know if a salt, brine, sulfuric acid, methane cube is gonna help us, but
Barium
still,
sulfate doesn't sound the best.
it's not like it's gonna give me like good energy. But I'll still hollow it out and put a light bulb in it. And see.
You might get haunted afterwards. We do not.
From the crab.
We don't. Yeah.
Like, so you
Crab on the
imagine
crabs.
there's ghost crabs crawling all over my ceiling and walls.
Oh my god!
It's
And
the
every night you
worst-
feel crabs on your
It's the
body.
worst gift.
That's the worst gift ever.
Pinching your toes.
Okay. But even though there's a lot of death that happens there, the rim on the outside, as we said, has a lot of abundance of creatures that are thriving. So there's, amphipods and tube worms and crabs and eels and the densely populated mussels. So you can go to another photo. I just wanted to show you another photo because it's really pretty and creepy. And
I was gonna say, pretty.
how creepy does it look?
Very,
It
very
looks
creepy.
very creepy. This looks like out of some type of alien horror movie.
Yes.
Right? So you can see how the brine is kind of flowing back and forth over those mussels there right at the edge.
It looks kind of like when you have like the dry ice machine,
Yes, it does. It looks just like dry ice.
but this is all underwater. So if
Yes.
you looked, you would imagine that these are on the surface and that is the water next to it. But
Yeah,
this is all
but it's all underwater.
wow.
So
This
these,
photo's creepy as shit. Like
It is very eerie. I like it. It's like fog coming
very
off the water
October.
or something.
Yeah.
Very October. Very spooky
yes, it's definitely the
season.
fog. Yeah, that's what it looks like too. Fog on the water.
Yeah.
isn't that a song by Deep Purple? It's Mist on the Water.
No,
Anyway.
that's
Smoke on the water.
Smoke
yeah,
on
smoke
the
on the
water.
water.
Smoke on the water. That's all I know.
Okay.
It's that one part.
So ridges and valleys create the hard surface that the sessile organisms need to leave. So sessile organisms are kind of like barnacles, mussels, anything that is planted in place and immobile. But the soft mud areas is where the kind of other mobile creatures live as they're like going back and forth. So since there's so much chemosynthesis that is occurring here, this place is a treasure trove for energy. Because if you remember correctly from the Mariana Trench episode, we also discussed the chemosynthesis versus photosynthesis because there's no light energy down there.
Are you gonna remind us what that is?
So, yes, chemosynthesis is food is made by bacteria using chemicals as their energy source, primarily methane and hydrogen sulfide. So typically in other
there's
areas
lots of
like the
down here.
Marianas
Okay.
Trench, yes, they use the hydrothermal vents to do this, but here they're using the methane and the hydrogen sulfide that's found in the brine pools. So the bacteria here can live in two places. It lives in the gills of the giant mussels, and they have a symbiotic relationship. So they provide the mussels with the energy to sustain themselves, and the bacteria are in a nice protected place from all their predators. And apparently these mussels require a lot of methane to survive, like a shit ton. Because there was a submersible, I think it was called the Nautilus, that went down in 2014. Might have been earlier than that. Might have been 2009.
The Nautilus sounds so
Nautilus
familiar.
sounds like the
The Nautilus
true
is
crime
the
case.
sub. Yeah.
Sub.
Nautilus
Okay.
is a lot of underwater things because Nautilus, I think, was a water god or something. So a lot of things have names.
A lot of. Isn't it true that every boat has to have a unique name? Isn't that true?
That sounds like that could be a fact. That sounds like it could be a fact.
I don't think that is, because I met somebody who had their boat as the same name as something else. I think it's just kind of like you have to have
if you have an official registered boat. I think
it's something like a license plate versus like the name that you put on the side or something like that. But don't quote me.
Yeah, I thought the name had to be unique, but
okay.
Chantel says you can steal boat names.
Yeah,
you heard it here first.
I bought a boat and I'm stealing names. So they actually went down and they took samples of the mussels to study, and they said that they had to feed them every few hours with methane, otherwise they were going to die.
It's just like a newborn baby.
Yeah, basically. And the second place that these bacteria can live is in the body of tube worms that live near the methane seeps as well.
Ugh.
So we're going to talk a little bit more about the different type of creatures that thrive in this toxic environment. So first of all, the mussels. So you can go to the next photo there. The mussels closest to the rim are actually the biggest, since they get the most of the chemicals that are released from the brine to feed their bacteria. So naturally, more food, bigger you get. These mussels create the dense areas outside of the walls of the brine pools, and they have what's called a commensal relationship with other creatures. And what that means is that one part is benefiting while the other is not getting anything from it. So they're not being caused harm,
like
but
a lot of
they're not getting anything
relationships.
extra.
I know,
Exactly.
Tag yourself.
So, so basically all these creatures are able to go along, and they use the mussel beds as shelter while also eating the food that's on top of it. Sometimes it's the bacteria. So things that will do this is like snails, shrimps, amphipods, and what's called squat lobsters. So
Squat lobster?
Squat
I
lobsters.
wasn't going to cover this at first because I was like, Megan is our lobster gal. But when I looked further into it, they are not technically a lobster. They're technically a crab.
Oh.
So they're
Why
called,
are they stealing the name of our good lobster?
No. Well, because of the shape. So they're called Munidopsis is the actual species of crab that they are. And you can see the next photo. I show you a bunch of different ones because they can live at different depths, but they're very, very small. So they're actually
the weirdest looking things I've ever seen.
Yeah, they're like
stunted.
Weird, stunted lobsters.
Yes. So they only get to be about 20 millimeters. They're typically found in chemosynthetic environments. But you can see why they give them like that lobster, because even though they're very small, they have that lobster kind of tail, but their claws are a little bit different. They're long and slender. So lobsters, I guess, tend to have more of a symmetrical elongated body, where squat lobsters have more.
So minus the claws, they're definitely like split
down. But I mean, these guys look kind of the same, but they said that they're not, so I just went with it.
I mean, you couldn't fool me. I feel like some of them are missing legs, but these are likely dead specimens, so it is what it is. Like so one half, like letter D, his whole right side is just not there.
I assume that got ripped off or something.
I'm assuming too.
But like E is like very obvious. Like, got my good arm and I got my other arm.
And F looks perfect, except for he is missing one leg.
Yeah, I mean even L, like they all look kind of symmetrical. And I mean, you know what? If you're gonna lose an arm or a leg, like that's what these guys do, and they grow back.
It is, yeah.
You know what?
So
we're not the scientists, but
their abdomen is obviously it's smaller, but it's also not as muscular as regular lobsters, and they're thinner than a true lobster is. So that's where some differences come in, even though they have the same kind of general shape. Yeah. So the ones that live in the deep are often completely blind as well, and they rely on other senses for navigation. Yeah.
I mean, I guess like not many creatures can see down there anyway.
There's nothing to see. There's no light.
Right. Like this is not an important thing to have.
No. It's also great if they couldn't see, because if something comes along and tries to lure them with their bioluminescence, they'd be like, I can't see you. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm not
going over there.
Yeah. So, tube worms that I mentioned before, you go to the next photo there. These they get to be about 20 to 30 centimeters, so 8 to 12 inches in length, and they have a hard body on the outside. These worms actually have a special organ where the bacteria lives inside of them. It's called a trophosome. So this organ not only helps them to house the bacteria, but it helps with the chemical exchange that helps them to grow from the energy.
Can we describe these for our people listening? Because they kind of look like
someone else can.
Yeah, someone.
They're like long, bony worms with little like pink, flowery heads coming out of the top.
They almost
but
look
not
like
quite
like
a full flower.
pieces of like asparagus stubs or something. Bamboo, yeah.
They look like very wet, noodly bamboo with
little flowers on top.
I was gonna say chopped prosciutto on top.
Okay, I could see that.
But I still hate
That sounds
it.
yummy.
Yeah.
So they're related to the
they're
zombie
not the
worms.
cutest.
They're related to the zombie worms, which are the ones that we talked about in Mariana Trench that eat on the whale fall. But they have the same kind of thing where they don't have any organs for digestion, so they completely rely on the bacteria to help them with everything that comes with digestion and this organ that's in them.
Good for them.
Yeah.
So there are larger predators.
not a looker.
Also, no, they are not. They're a face only a mother could love. So there's also larger predators that frequent here. It's octopus, sharks, hagfish, deep sea
Eel.
cod, and larger crabs, as well as, yes, the eel that we talked about. But these guys use the mussel beds opportunistically to feed on dying or decaying creatures or picking up a few fresh ones as they graze along these.
It's always better to get
mussels.
fresh if you can.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Eat
freshy.
fresh.
Yeah, it's better for you. Subway.
So that's
Subway sponsor us.
So that's how come that's why like sometimes the crabs get too close to the edge because they're grazing for food and then they fall into the pool.
Who among us hasn't fallen off a cliff when grazing?
Megan, you probably fell
cliffside.
into
Yeah.
a pool in Mexico by getting too close to the edge while you were, grazing
That
for alcohol.
sounds like something. I was like, ooh, pickled crab. The next thing I know.
That's exactly how it happened. I remember.
Yeah.
Were you not practicing
Right, broke my toe.
water safety, Megan, in Cuba?
Megan was too drunk to practice water safety.
I'm asking as a former lifeguard. Were you practicing water safety?
At that time, no. And there was not a lifeguard to be seen, which is like scary.
I was gonna say
I
feel
should
like
have
the
gone on this
bartenders-
trip.
You should have. I feel like the bartenders were not practicing.
Megan
water
needed
safety
me.
on this
No.
trip.
And also too, that life has truly left me. I cannot do that anymore. Not even like, oh, I can't drink like I used to. I just physically I can't even get there. Like I get sick before I even get that drunk. I'm just so guys, your 20s are fucked. When you get to your late
Enjoy
30s,
them. If you're still
Yeah.
in them,
Have
enjoy
fun.
it.
As Chantel has her second glass.
Chantel's on drink 2. She's the wild child of the group.
have
in my
dry
30s now.
cider.
Oh, that sounds good.
Ooh, it sounds very good.
It's just I can't do it the way I used to, which is good. Like I don't want to be breaking. my
No, and
toe
when we
at a
do,
resort.
it's by accident because we get too excited and then we like are done for the next day and a half.
it ruins my whole next day.
Right.
Like if I'm going to
We've
do it, I'm
learned-
like I am counting the next day is going to be a nothing day.
Yeah, right off where I get out of bed
McDonald's.
at like 2.
Although we did a good job on last time I went to visit you. I mean, did we
We
get
did. I
drunk?
think I had,
No,
like, a-
but I think we still drank a lot, and we just had a steady pace.
I
We
was
drank
more
water.
full
Yeah.
than I was drunk.
God,
We
had some
ate.
good
That was
food.
our secret. We had a lot of food. So.
Good food. I think that the drunkest we got was the first day. It was the anticipation of you coming.
Yes.
And
8
I
hours
think-
later.
But we were just so like excited. I don't even know if it was drunk or like drunk on friendship. Really, more so.
Yeah.
Cheaper too.
That's a good cider.
Okay, back to these
Okay,
fucking
Sounds
tube worms.
delicious.
So no, we're done with the 2 worms.
Oh,
We can
thank
actually go to
God.
the second one here, the next photo. So this is a hagfish. It
Megan's-
doesn't look
Oh
much
my
better.
God.
Disappointed.
Oh, it looks so soft.
It looks very,
It's very
soft,
ugly.
but not like in a I want to touch it way.
And its skin tone's like decayed flesh coloring. Oh, I hate this.
So
It looks
it
like
kinda
he
looks
would
like
almost like if you touched him, he'd be like a soft peach.
Stop it, Lindsay.
yeah. It does look like old peach skin.
Okay. It looks like what a snail looks like. That
Listeners
shell.
can get a
Without
good
a shell?
visual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
oh, I hate it.
Speaking of
This
peaches,
hagfish-
I bought I bought peaches like 2 days ago. I ate one and then I went to eat the other one last night.
Stop
and
it.
it completely went rotten in like a day.
That's illegal.
Give it back.
I know.
Throw
I've given
the
things
peach
back before.
at
One
your
time-
business.
perfect.
One time we bought cucumbers and we brought them home, and the next day they were moldy. So I brought them back because it was across the street. I was like, pardon me, sir.
I would consider that, but I'm like, it was like $1 or something, and I don't have the receipt.
That's
and
fair.
I don't want to carry around a moldy peach.
Well, my thing was
So
just that
for
I
all
needed more
those
cucumbers.
Yeah.
So
Right.
yeah,
I
a little different, yeah.
and plus if it's across the street, that makes a difference too. Mine is like it's a over 10-minute walk. I'm like, it would
Not
be
worth it for the
a
dollar.
lot of work, and then I'd be like, got my $1 back.
Yeah.
Now what?
Yeah.
I got
fine.
more peaches from Costco, and they look fine. And then Damien turns one over, and it's like, well, it's past the point of eating.
Yeah.
But he's like, I'm gonna eat around it. I'm like, okay, whatever. So then I go through, and all the ones that are kind of like questionable, I'm like, they'll make a great sorbet. So
you go.
also I made pineapple sorbet with fresh pineapple.
Ooh.
Life changing.
I don't love pineapple, but
I know.
I would
it's
try
really not
your
like
sorbet. I would try your
Lindsay
sorbet.
went.
And the key is to put a little bit of the whipped cream in it, so it's like
Oh, it's more of an ice cream.
or just, I don't know, like when you have like whipped cream on like any kind of dessert, just makes it a little more. Anyway, back
Like
to
a
this fucking
sundae.
hagfish.
Okay, that's hagfish. So you guys can get off the photo. Let's talk about it. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So it kind of to me looks like a giant leech. But so it's the only species that has the ability to enter the brine pools unharmed.
Because it's evil.
And they do this through the devil. No.
They've made a deal.
He's like, you want to go to these brine pools? Like, I don't give a fuck. Okay, go ahead. Like,
Okay, I guess.
Why do I care?
Yeah, no one even thinks I'm cute. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Just keep getting picked on. No, they do this through something called osmoregulation. So they can actually control the amount of salt that's in their body. So when they enter into something that is more salty than them, they can control so that the inside is like still, well, they're still in osmosis. So
Chemistry occurs.
a chemistry happens, and they have also evolved to survive in low oxygen environments with a low because they have a low metabolic rate. So that's
So
why
they
they can
like
be in this
to be
anoxic
choked.
environment. Exactly.
Very
They
kinky.
can, they can go almost all the way with it.
I'm almost there.
They are also the only living animals to have a skull, but no vertebral column.
I understand the first part of what you said.
They
Skull,
have
I
no
get.
vertebrae.
Skull.
They have a skull, no spine.
No.
Just floating
Okay.
around in
Just
the
a
goop on the inside.
floating skull.
It doesn't look like he
Yeah.
really needs a spine.
He doesn't look like he needs a skull either, but he does.
That's true.
I guess.
He
I
ain't
wonder-
right. He
I
ain't
am
right, guys.
curious. I know you probably don't have a picture, but I am curious of the skull too. Like,
yeah, I didn't. You know what?
so their whole skeleton would just be skull. right?
Yeah,
Is that-
basically.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So primarily they live off mussels. They eat the mussels. But those that also did not
Delicious.
survive the brine pools,
I
they're
know, I
able
love
to go
mussels.
in there and they can eat what falls off of these pools, which means that they would have a great advantage for food because they're the only ones that can go in there without dying. So anything
going
that
to the
falls
buffet.
in
Safe
there,
hiding
the
spot
only
too.
they have the best buffet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
they can go
and a
there,
safe hiding spot.
feed
It's like-
unharmed. Right. They got it
Yeah.
made.
So that deal with the devil was worth it.
Totally working for them. I'm not sure
yeah.
if the devil got out of it, but
I don't know. We'll find out. Maybe their souls are amazing.
Not every deal is a good one. It's just saying.
So the downside of living so close to death, occasionally the walls collapse or crumble and they cause a toxic brine to pour out in underwater slides. They also occasionally have an overflow when the pools are maintaining their water levels. So there still will be some change of water that happens, especially if it comes out through the ground at all from any water that's gone underneath. So there will be a slight overpool because they do always maintain that same one. So you can go to the next photo and you can see it's just kind of like this trail of death that's going on there from where one had collapsed.
oh, I see how it's coming from kind of like the
Okay.
top of the photo down.
Yeah. So, you know, those organisms that weren't lucky enough to get away or are stuck to the sides just kind of died along with it. So,
So this would have just collapsed inward.
yeah, exactly. So it just collapsed and kind of just killed everything around it. But because life,
Hagfish is like,
away.
yes.
I see that on an almost like daily basis. It comes up.
It's a good quote.
It's a great quote.
It's a great quote.
And also, Ian.
Now even better.
Jeff. Yeah, he actually got hotter with age.
Yeah, well, most men do. It's not fair, but
it's really not fair. Steve Carell, not fair.
Yes, Steve Carell is a great example of that. What the fuck happened there? He made a deal with the devil.
That's a good deal.
Yeah, yeah, that is worth your soul. Anyways, so these brine pools are, there are some extremophile bacteria and archaea that can actually live inside the pools as well. Predominantly, they do live in the animals around there, like I said, the gills, the mussels, and things like that for the extra added protection. But there are some that can live down there. So these brine pools are not only studied to learn about our planet, but the information gathered also helps us to understand more of what it could be like to live on planets with harsher environments than ours. Even recently, 12 enzymes were detected in the Red Sea brine pools that had specific biochemical properties that were promising to provide potential uses in biotechnical, industrial, and pharmaceuticals. So there is a lot that can be learned from this.
Wow.
Learned it from this.
I mean,
I learned it a lot today, Chantel.
But by someone else.
So there's a lot of life that depends on these jacuzzis of death, no matter how much of an oxymoron that seems like. And that's it. That's the
Good job.
That was great and weird.
It was very weird. I honestly wasn't sure what to expect. I literally was thinking hot tub time machine. I'm not lying. I thought that was
there's also
the direction we were going in, but
it's a great episode of American
Could you imagine
Dad.
if I just reenact a hot tub time machine?
Yeah, that's fine too.
Yes.
But I should have known science-y you would make this.
I had to.
I still thought it was
Very
haunted,
informational.
Yeah, it's probably
It could still be
by all the
haunted.
things that died. We don't
Right.
know.
Just really don't appreciate that photo of that fucking hagfish snail.
As I was finding the photo, I'm like, Megan's gonna hate this. It's going.
Looks like the scariest uncircumcised penis you've ever seen. Ever.
Yeah.
Oh God, I can't.
Yeah.
I'm changing the photos.
Go back to the mussels with all the things on it. That's a cute one.
I love
It has
mussels.
the little.
Yeah, I like.
I love to eat mussels.
Well, and this is full of like mussels and shrimp and the little squat lobster. So it's got a lot
Squat
going on that would be. I know. I kept thinking about you every time I wrote squat lobster.
Matching towels.
Rock
I
lobster.
only really know of that from Family Guy. Like I know.
Oh really?
I know one. Oh my God, what's the name of that band again?
The one that does it?
Yes.
They're the same ones that do that
I know.
other one.
I know. Everyone's screaming.
B-52s.
Yeah,
It's a drink.
I was like 54 something. But
Like Studio 54.
I only knew of that one song, and then I saw the Family Guy thing, and I'm like, what kind of fever dream is this? And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, it's based on a
Oh,
real
it's real.
song.
It's like when he sings the bird, bird, bird. The bird is the word. It's a
also
real song.
song.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that was creepy as hell. However, I did find it very interesting, just that the compounds of normal salt water and these pools are so different that they can't mix. And I still find that so hard to envision, but like obviously that is exactly what's happening. And I've seen videos like the one of the crab right there I've seen, and I think I saw the one of the eel as well. And just sometimes it's not instant, but they go in and it's like if you were to, to drink salt water, as we know people do when they're desperate. It's almost like seeing what your cells are doing, but just on a full body scale. Like your cells are just freaking out.
So
And,
almost
like,
like a similar
because-
reaction would happen with these animals that aren't used to that level of salinity, right?
Yeah, so basically what it is that they go in and they start breathing it in through their gills, and it's like by the time it's like when we talk about the martini effect when you're diving, right? They start going into this thing and they just like get disoriented, they can't get out, then toxic shock hits them because of all the issues that's happening in their bloodstream, and they can't get out.
I'm
And so
curious
they
if
become
it feels different to go in there, like if the water feels different too.
I do wonder. I imagine it would feel like floating in space. That's what I would imagine because
there's so much
it's
salt.
so dense, right? Yeah, and you can. Like,
I wonder
it's
if
like
they
when
can pick up on that, because like if you can't really see very well down there, it's like, couldn't you kind of accidentally stumble upon this? if you're an animal.
Yeah, I don't think that they can like dip a claw and be like, whoa, this feels weird. It probably is like once they're halfway in, it's too late.
Well, they would definitely probably feel something because it's warmer, right? So they would probably feel that they're going
But
into
if they're at the bottom of the ocean,
like, oh, this is nice.
Yeah, they probably would actually
they're
like it.
pickled and boiled. They're ready to eat.
I'm hungry.
Anyone want to order seafood?
We're all getting seafood for dinner.
Okay, the next time we have a girls trip, which we have like 1,001 in the works, we need to do like another seafood one. And
well, we still need to do New Orleans, which would be, I think, a good seafood destination.
Dear listener, let us know if you and your friends, when you go out to eat, because you know who does that anymore? It's so expensive. But you go out to eat. Does everyone get their own entree and they just stick to their food and that's it? Or do you do what we do and you get a bunch of little things? Yeah, or we get an entree, but we're sharing everything so we get as many bites as possible. Like, how do you lose? That's the best way, I think.
Yeah.
I like shareables because I want to try everything.
Yes.
I want to try your food.
That's my issue.
Your food.
Is that like I'm like I don't want to have the the FOMO of food. So we have to share everything.
Like
I don't know about
somehow I'm gonna eat all my and somehow all his. I'm like, but share. Do you understand?
Have you done that before?
No, never. Of course. He eats like he's in prison. He like covers his plate and like forks it in. I'm like, anyway.
I don't know if you both do this, but I like to look at menus before I even go there, so I can have an idea of what I'm gonna get. Because otherwise, I'm just a lost mess. Like I need time. I need to get a drink. I need to look. Like
it's kind
even if you have 5 items, like I need my time. I need to figure.
I
this
hate
out.
when sometimes we go to a place and I haven't been able to look at it first because it's been like a very spur of the moment. This is where we're going for dinner, and he'll look at a menu and he'll choose like right away like what he or like we'll kind of discuss, be like, okay, I want this or this, and then like if you get the other one, then we can share both of them because we always share whatever we get. And sometimes we'll go and then like the server will come over to grab our drinks and he's like, yep, and we're ready to order. I'm like, no, I'm not. I haven't read
you
the
can't
menu.
put that pressure on me.
Studied. What is going on right now? I'm like, just get the drinks. It's okay. Like,
if you need an appetizer, I will eat while I figure it
out. Like, give us.
And no, I don't mean the server ask us. I mean, Vadim is like, let's order. I'm like, I can't.
He's the problem.
This is pressure.
I feel like having the meal itself is so exciting and having like the great conversations and all that and the vibe, the ambiance is important. Mm-hmm. So I like to start that process as soon as possible. So by looking at the menu, I'm like, I'm already there. I can imagine what am I going to get? Am I going to get this? I look at the menu. Mm-hmm. Oh, this wine's actually a really good deal. And so I start like I'm already at the restaurant at 4 p.m. in my.
I also look at like what it looks like on the inside too. So we can like kind of get like the vibe of the restaurant. It's like, we could sit inside, like look at this area. It's very nice. Or maybe we can sit on the patio if it's nice and like.
Could I do like jeans and a cute top? Or sneakers not allowed? Like what?
I also appreciate people who posted photos of their food because I'm not a food picture taker usually unless it's like, oh, we did a cute like bachelorette spread, for example.
Oh, that's different.
Yeah. Like stuff like that. Yes, I'll take a picture. But in general, I eat my food way too fast. I'm hungry, so I don't take pictures of it. But I appreciate the people who do and post them on Google, and that way I can see them and make better choices for myself.
Also, what if I order something and it's tiny and I'm like, I am hungry?
Right. Then I need to order another meal? Like, what?
Yeah.
Come on.
Sorry, that is the worst. Now, I don't like getting portions where 2/3 of the plate are like French fries. Like, I love good French fry, but I want like a nice balanced whatever. Or like Lindsay was saying, like, if I want to get maybe a portion size that is smaller, are the starters like hefty enough that would be enough?
Right.
And just these are questions that I have that I need to know.
Exactly. Typically, we would rather order a third entree than order an appetizer. I won't lie.
That to me is like, are you allowed to do that? Like, who told? Like, how are you allowed? That sounds illegal.
Yeah. Well, normally it's like $4 difference, and like appetizers are so small. So I'm like, why would we not just order a third entree and spend an extra $4?
Speaking of appetizers, I'm just getting like a plate of calamari right now.
That was so good.
I'd like chipotle aioli.
I'm actually really hungry.
Oh my god,
I'm
dying
right now.
I might need seafood this weekend. It's a long weekend. So
yes,
long weekends equal seafood now. That's just
it's just
we gotta have it.
You didn't know?
So
we actually have a restaurant across the street that has really good mussels. They have either a red sauce or a white wine sauce. And they're both good. I think we like the white wine sauce more. Yeah.
And if I'm gonna have no, that's hard to say because sometimes like mussels come with pasta like sometimes then I would rather a red. Like, do I don't know. See, now I don't know.
Yeah, I love the white wine buttery sauce.
Yes, buttery sauce
preference.
I used to work at a place that we had it was a Belgian beer cafe, and it was in New Zealand, so it was the giant green-lipped mussels, which are humongous and they're so tasty. And we would have it was they would do their mussel specials, so like a pot would be half price on certain nights. Anyways, I used to get mussels there all the time because they like apparently Belgium loves mussels, so
interesting.
Didn't know that.
These mussels are beautiful.
The green lip mussels, yeah, they're
Oh
humongous
my
and
God.
they're delicious.
So
but they did one sauce that was a green Thai curry sauce.
Oh, I love especially green Thai curry. Oh, so good.
To die for.
I'm so hungry now.
Yeah, me too.
I have some at like here. It's just when I make it myself, it's just nowhere near as good as it is when I buy it.
I do love making like my own though, like white wine reduction creamy sauce. I feel like a fucking badass whenever I do that.
Yeah, I feel like a chef for sure.
I do feel like a chef. And then Damien will tease me and he's like, behind 886 this. I'm like, yeah, this is my kitchen right now. So
I always say behind, and he's like, do we have to act like we're in a restaurant right now? I'm like, but I am behind you and you will back up into me.
Yeah.
Sometimes I say to Eric now, yes, chef, because we watched The Bear. I don't know if you've seen The Bear, but you should watch it if you haven't.
Also Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago.
I'm just before they actually open The Bear. Like I'm just getting to that point.
Okay, yeah. I'm only
we're
a
caught
couple
up,
episodes in because then I thought that he might like to watch it, but I also don't know if it's going to be too stressful for him, so we'll see.
Oh yeah, no, it is. It is.
Yeah, so
it is a stressful show.
It gives me tension in my shoulders, and I'm like,
I'm like,
oh, I know. I only watched 1.5 episodes before I was like, you know what, this is really good. It has really great reviews. Maybe he'll like it. But then I'm like, it might be too much for him, so we'll see. Anyways, we've gone on like a lot of tangents.
Yeah,
here.
we can cut this out, but watch The Bear. So this episode,
watch The Bear.
If you're taking away nothing, it's look at the menu before you go and watch The Bear.
And green lip mussels are delicious.
And they're gorgeous. So like make it
order seafood for yourself.
Oh my God,
you're into it.
Seafood.
If you're allergic,
or
don't.
Thai.
If you're allergic, yes, please don't. Not advised.
Yes, that you can't sue us because we said
allergy warning. Don't order shellfish if you are allergic to it.
Mm-hmm.
We've said it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Chantel, for educating me yet again on things I knew nothing about. So I feel so much smarter now.
Yeah, and I feel like the things that you taught me have now removed other things that I've learned. So they're just like a revolving door.
These will now be things that you can.
We can only retain one thing at a time.
I know these. Yeah, yeah. We're at that age now.
Yeah, I was like, if you listen to my podcast with my besties, you'll learn all about it. So, if you like this episode and you're kind of new, though, you should definitely go back to Chantel's episode on the Mariana Trench if you want to learn some more. Some more science.
But even the Lake Baikal one that was mentioned by another podcast or another TikTok thing. So because apparently it's not just like it is really well known as a creepy lake. So check out that one too.
Well, I heard it from Chantel. So
yeah, same.
That's
All right.
Listen. Cheers
to a long weekend.
I'm so excited.
I love it now that I work full time. This long weekend has been I've been waiting for it.
Every day's long weekend.
I need long weekends. Monday to Friday.
We have to wait like 6 weeks for another one. That's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I love you, ladies.
All right. Love you.
But I like you both very much, but I'm not ready to commit yet.
Okay.
That's fair. It's only been like 15 years, whatever.
Yeah.
More than 20.
I'm sure
20.
I'll feel because
20. Oh my God, it's been 20. 21 years.
I feel like any month I'm going to
What are we going to be good enough for you, Megan?
Any month I'm no longer going to be a teenager.
Just to clarify, Megan loves us and she cries whenever she sees us. So
whenever I see you, whenever you leave, whenever I think about you.
Yeah.
It's fair. Okay, let's end this. Okay, I love you. Bye.
Bye for real.
Thank you for listening today. We loved having you. If you liked the episode, share with your friends, family, or anyone who would enjoy it. Also, take a moment to review our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. Leaving us a like or comment really helps. If you'd like to buy us a coffee, please visit our coffee page at www.ko-fi.com/coastfiles. Email us at coastfilespod@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram at coastfilespod, or visit our website at www.coastfiles.com. You can find the sources for today's episode on our website. See you next week with a new episode.